they can just filter right in behind and take a seat there. Couple up here. Over here. If I didn't introduce myself already, my name is Conrad Garner with Ensemble Real Estate, and we're here today to talk about a new hotel development in Emeryville. I'm here with Michael Moskowitz, a managing partner in our company, Ensemble, Jeff Sears with Wareham Development, and Gene Fong with Gene Fong Associates, the architect. So I will give a brief introduction about who we are and take you through a few steps about the project as a whole, the brand, and then let Gene get into a little bit more of the design overview. This meeting is meant to present to you and the community what we're intending to do. We're really excited about the project. We understand it's been quite some time since the hotel's been built here, and we're more than energetic about getting it done and doing it right. So let me just get started. I'll go right into it. Again, I'll introduce to the team the project, the brand, which is Hyatt Place. It's a brand that falls under the umbrella of Hyatt Corporate. And then we'll talk about the presentation after that. So, again, this is a joint venture partnership between Ensemble Hotel Partners and Wareham Development. Ensemble, our group, we're a hotel developer based out of Long Beach, California, with offices in LA, Phoenix, remote in San Fran, and Long Beach, of course. And then Wareham, being a local developer, we partnered up with their expertise locally and our history with their company. So together, we're going to build this hotel. Just a little bit about ourselves. We've been in business for 30 years. Currently, we have about 1,000 hotel rooms that we've developed or renovated and currently own through 6 properties. They consist of all the major flags. They call them flags, the brands, Marriott, Hilton, Hyatt. We're a developer that prides ourselves on building quality buildings for the long term. We're not a turnover property company. We like to build. We usually end up putting more into it than maybe we even should, but we want to come out of the other side with something we're proud of and that benefits the community and the guests as a whole. Hi, come on in. We got some seats up here. Maybe one on the side. There's 2 here and 2 up here.
I cut the
2 there?
Right there.
2 in the front?
There's 3 here. Just to show you just quickly, this is a hotel we built, just to give a little background. This is a Residence Inn by Marriott. It's a Marriott brand of extended stay, so these are all suites with kitchens. This was down in Long Beach. We built this hotel in 2009. It's doing very well down there. We still own it and are very proud of it because it was a modern rendition of this brand that's been around for decades, and Marriott runs that for us. This is a hotel that actually opened today in Philadelphia. This is a Marriott Courtyard, 2 Marriott products. This is 172 keys. We call them keys, guest rooms. Sorry, 172 guest rooms. Sits in a master plan community in the Navy Yard. Really proud of the architecture we pulled off here and hope to take some of the things we learned on this project and apply them to the Emeryville side of it with Gene's group. How you doing? We got a couple seats up here. And we may be out after that. We might be standing for a moment. So these are just a couple precedents just to show you our background and the kind of buildings we like to build. Wareham Development, you may know more intimately being local. Big presence, a lot of success in Emeryville, over 4 million square feet of commercial space. The successful Emery Station project, and we're happy to work with them on this deal. So I'm going to move into the project and start at a high level, and we'll work down and get into the design. So this is about a new hotel, and just to give you an idea where it is, we're here today in the community room, and the hotel site is called Site A in some documents, but is basically at the very other bookend of the Bay Street Retail Center across from the Gap. About a 1-acre site there, backs up to the railroad. Christie, of course, comes in here, and Shelmon runs past. So just to give you context of where we are building this. This is the site plan. Won't go into too much detail because I'll let Gene take us through that. But again, our site, this is railroad track here. We're down at that end, and we are on the acre that backs up to the railroad track. This is where you come in and go up to the parking, currently in the retail center. Some site photos, if we're not familiar, this is looking at it from Christie. You can see past me here, just scroll through these. This is standing on the site, railroad tracks, multifamily apartments to the south, comes around to the open lot.
So you come all the way to the Palace Street?
We do not, no, we stay, we don't go to Powell. Powell's over here. There's a fence out here,
Okay.
and we stay right here. Our whole lot is just as, even this is outside of our domain. This is all to be developed down the road. We are focused on this 1 acre.
Is there a walkway or what?
What's that?
What's in the, between the undeveloped and the
Here? On this side?
developed? In the middle,
This?
Yeah.
Right here?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is there's an easement to extend Bay Street to this site that will take a street-wide swath right through between this property and this property. And that is, it may be or may not be indicative of what it will look like, but ultimately there will be vehicular access into these two sites to provide access here into this retail center and potentially future to this site. But that access is actually outside of our scope. That will be built likely by Madison, and we'll tie into it with our entrance to the hotel here. Yeah, this will connect to the bigger piece over here. Exactly. That's all the bigger site to the north. This is outside of us.
Yeah, I saw this smaller.
So again, here's site photos. I'll just move through these. I think we're pretty familiar. This is the gap, and the site is directly across from the gap. This is the elevation on Christie of the existing. And then this is the hotel that we're proposing. It is 6 stories, 170, 169 to 170 guest rooms. We're pretty proud of where we've taken the design at this point, still working out some details. But there are Hyatt Place brand requirements that we've incorporated into this design, as well as site context that we try to respect. Obviously up front we have the railroad, we have existing multifamily and retail. So I'll let Gene go through that. I just want to talk a little bit about the brand, so I'll jump to those. The hotel program is 169 guest rooms, 6 stories, a lobby cafe where anybody can go in and buy a coffee, a Danish, donuts, sit down and enjoy a cafe. We'll have a meeting room that will be bigger than this room, about 900 square feet. An indoor pool and a full fitness center, and we've actually gone outside of the scope and provided an outdoor patio at this corner. This is a site plan. So again, Christie, Bay Street. We carved our building back to give a little bit of an outdoor patio to tie in the pedestrian experience of coming down a retail street, spilling into ours, and spilling over to potentially whatever is built here. So that's our outdoor patio component. Just to highlight a few benefits to the Emeryville community, always important to look at an impact of a new business coming in. Hotel is a big business. This is going to generate in the neighborhood of $12 million of what we call transient occupancy tax, TOT, that's the acronym. That's the tax everybody pays when you stay overnight at a hotel. It runs about 12% in the city of Emeryville. We have new property taxes promoting development in the city. Quite a bit in permanent development fees, obviously contributions to the Emory Go-Around, which we think is great. We love tying our hotels into public transportation services like that. Down in Long Beach, just as an aside, we're tied into the local, basically Long Beach Go-Around, the red bus down there, and it's great for the guests. And probably in the neighborhood of 45 to 50 new jobs at the hotel once it's open. So the brand, Hyatt Place is the brand. I'm just going to jump quickly to this. And bring
Is this owned by Hyatt, or is it
So what
franchise?
that's a good question. The way we run it, the way this generally works is we franchise the brand. So we pay Hyatt to be allowed to build this hotel and put their logo on it. They give us the standards and the requirements for it, but they don't actually own it, and likely they won't run it. We'll probably bring in a third-party management company to run it. We don't run our own hotels. We're just development and ownership, and we franchise the brand, and we bring in third-party management to run. That's generally the business model for the hotels. So this is a Hyatt document that I'm using now. It's a great piece just to explain the market. There's one here, another one there. asked about the Hyatt brand. So this is a Hyatt family of brands. The Park Hyatt being obviously their 5-star, very luxurious brand. The hotel business segments itself into, luxury, economy, extended stay, which is when you have kitchens like Residence Inn. That's what the Hyatt House is, which is going to go through renovation. That's this guy. So here's Hyatt Place. Currently 167 hotels nationwide, over 21,000 guest rooms. And Hyatt's very proud of this brand because it is a brand that they're promoting to compete with the Marriott Courtyard and the Hilton Garden Inn, which are both very successful. So they're pretty excited about it. Gina and I met with Hyatt out here less than a month ago, about 3 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
Had a very good meeting, showed them the site. We go through a whole architectural review with them as well. So that'll be coming. So welcome to Hyatt Place, next generation select service. So this is the segment of select service, meaning there is food and beverage available, but there is not room service or a traditional sit-down restaurant. Just like Courtyard Bistro, you can go in, get coffee, you can get alcohol that serves a bar, but there's no full-service dining. That the Hyatt will have the exact same thing, a full cafe up front, right in the lobby when you come in. Just to keep going. Just to show you, 2005 is when the brand was born. Hyatt's had aggressive growth over the last 6 years, from 2005 to 2011. It's a brand that can be built brand new and renovated. We're obviously building new. And they have lofty goals of global expansion as this continues to grow. Just to show you quickly, it's a brand that seems to focus in urban centers. It's got more of an urban feel to the public space, being the lobby and the lounge. The guest rooms are very modern and earth tones, but nicely done. So it's in all major cities at this point and continuing to expand. Competitive group, Courtyard, which is already here, Hilton Garden Inn, which is already here, and a brand called Aloft, which is a Starwood brand, kind of a toned down Westin of sorts, W, and Hyatt Place competes right along with them. As you can see, 167 versus 918 and 515. They're trying to grow quickly to bring the mass in. I already talked about new builds, conversions. These are just some pictures of other ones that have been built or converted. Madison, Waikiki, West Palm Beach, big MSAs. They're in Seattle, Houston. I'm just going to take you through a series of pictures, give you a flavor of what the inside of the building looks like when you come in through the front door lobby. What does it feel like? So this is Hyatt's typical package. They hold you pretty close to it, so we won't deviate too much. We like to bring in some local vernacular, something of context. So we do get to play with artwork, some of the architecture and finishes, but generally the layout will follow along these guidelines. This is the gallery where they have some art and different lighting schemes and sitting areas. This continues through more sitting and dining, a lot of earth tones, very, very casual, but comfortable place. There's their bakery cafe, plenty of seats. As you can see, you're able to order a variety of spirits and beer and wine. They serve breakfast, lunch, and you can get dinner food. Unique food and beverage model using gallery hosts. One of their pieces, when you come right in, you can get food immediately because the person checking you in is also able to service the food counter right next door, and they run it back and forth, part of their model. These are just some shots of the breakfast buffet in the morning. All the normal dishes.
So 24/7.
Full gym.
Food
Food.
restaurant?
Sorry?
Restaurant's not open all night.
The restaurant's not open all night, but you're able to come and get some food from the front desk. There's usually, is there a market component?
There is.
Yeah. There's a, not sure where it carves in, but there's always a place where you can come in and get sundries, water, stuff like that, and buy it at the front desk 24/7, because it is manned.
Like the guest.
24/7. Exactly, a guest could come down any time of night, or somebody checking in, always available. These are some shots of the fitness center, the business center. The guest rooms are very modern. Kings all have stand-up showers with glass sliders, nice tile surrounds. It's upgraded. It has a very much suite feel. There's a sitting area, a small divide and in the bed area, and a nice working space. And it's designed to cater to the business traveler, obviously, but then also the leisure traveler. This pulls out into a double. You can sleep 4 in this room. It's great for weekend business. Some of the guest room shots, just to show you the flavor here. Nice contemporary room. This is one of their alternate plans that we have these rooms in our plan too. It's more of a square with a desk in the corner. Takes everything off kilter a little bit. It's a nice room. And they do offer 1-bedroom suites. We have 5 suites in the hotel and 20 studios, which was that last room. So there is a variety of rooms types to choose from. And this is looking back. This is 2 queens in the divider and bathroom near the front door. And that's basically it. So at this point, I'm going to hand it over to Gene and let him walk you through the easels here and explain the building as we have it. And then we can open it up for questions.
Maybe I
Do you want me to do your?
want me to do it here or?
Sure, either way. Slide over here.
I think Conrad explained a lot about the brand, the Hyatt Place.
Hey Gene, could you sit on the side so your voice comes more out
okay,
here?
so maybe Conrad, you could click on this in here. Okay, so I think Conrad spoke pretty much a lot about the brand. And the brand, you know, is a limited service hotel, similar to a Courtyard or Hill Garden, as I said. And I won't go through some of the things that he talked about in Hyatt, but let's go to the site plan. And one of the things that we were very, very conscious of is that, you know, this site is really a prominent site. It's been, it's an anchor to the other end of the theater on Bay Street. So it's important that when you come down Bay Street, there is this element that bookcase, you know, bookend the 2 projects. The hotel has exposure along Christie and on Bay. So the hotel itself, we'll go to the next one. This may be a little light, but we got Christie over here. You arrive through the Porte Cochere drop-off area on Bay. Okay, you can check in here. Registration parking here. You will come through, register, park your car and come in to register. The Porte Cochere, inside the lobby is a 2-story high Hyatt Place concept of a high lobby. And again, being that it's a select service, like the Courtyard, you've got the dining area, which is open usually in the morning and the afternoon and late at night. The host handles the greeting as you come in, as well as the deli type of food that's available most of the day. We have a lounge area that opens into outdoor patio. Okay, it's important for us to engage this corner of Christie and Bay to create this building attraction of inside and out. So you can see it through when you're in that corner, and you can see out when you're in the building. So it's important for us to create this exposure, the attraction that gives you a sense of arrival and where you are. Also next to the lounge lobby is a meeting room, about 1,000 square feet, and then restrooms and an indoor swimming pool. Behind the dining area is what we call the back of house, laundry, kitchen, employees, and mechanical area. Some of the parking under the tower and around, back onto Christie, there's about 42 cars. That's all we get on this site. And the balance of the parking will be in the adjacent parking structure. And so when you do check in, you would come out, and then if there's no parking here, you continue on to the structure. Okay. Next one. Typical floor, again, explain what I mentioned earlier. The building is facing Bay and Christie. We also understand that the railroad is also an element that we want to create some sense of privacy. So the tower is set back from the railroad, has the open space, natural light coming in, again, Bay and Christie. Typical room, pretty much in the style that Conrad mentioned to you, both king and double queen and suites. On the second floor, this is a two-story element. Allows more of a natural light in from the glass tower. And then we have a fitness room over here. The corner of the building is a full suite. It's a one-bedroom suite, in addition to the end ones over here. And that's just more of the typical floor, the elevation. This is looking from Bay, and this is looking from Christie. Go to the rendering. This is the view from the corner of Bay and Christie. Again, the porte cochere, when you arrive, you drive around, turn circle, you go in under the building, into the parking. This is the front door, into the lobby. This is the outdoor terrace and outdoor dining area we talked about that engages both the inside lounge and the outside space. Fire pits, indoor-outdoor use. I think it's ideal for where we are in Day Street because of the traffic and how people wander around. Material-wise, we have on the corner, this is metal cladding, we get glass all the way down to the ground, smooth plaster with integrated window and metal panel, glass tower, a wedge, which is kind of what Hyatt is identifying himself as part of their brand. And that's mostly glass and metal mullion. Plaster again. And then we introduce natural stone at the base and a metal or wood material that we think could warm up that ground level that attracts the attention from the pedestrian. And then when you go around on the Christie, some of that same material down here, it's kind of a reddish stone will come up here and along Christie. Next one. And here's Christie. When you turn the corner, here's the tower. We've taken that natural stone up here to create a sense of separation between the tower and the other block. Picking up the same stone with the metal lattice all the way around. This is the entrance back into the hotel and the secondary entrance to the hotel, and then wrapping around to the back. And then we took a shot looking aerial view of the back. As you can see, as I mentioned before, the building is set back more toward the street, so to create more of an open space for the guests in particular, from the railroad. There'll be no equipment on the low roof. We intend that to be some sort of either a green roof or a sculptural type roof. Okay. And any of the mechanical that would be used would be covered up by high parapet and walls. And the rest of it is just the elevations that we will wrap around. And these are some of the earlier studies that we did before we did the rendering. That's the front door as you enter. Again, same thing here, you drop off, the entrance to the hotel. And you can see over here the smooth plaster with the integrated window and the architecture metal, all flush together to create a nice detail along that side.
Thanks, Gene.
Anything else?
No, I think that hit most of it. So, again, we're very excited about it and trying to implement a lot of different architectural pieces to it. At this point, we can open it up. Any questions about the design or the hotel itself or the brand? Anything? Yes?
The tower on the corner, are those rooms, or is that staircase, or?
No, these are the suites. These are the large, there's only one per floor. These are the one-bedroom suite that has view from both sides. Okay. It goes all the floor, and then when you get down here, that's the lobby lounge that opens out into the terrace. So that exposure is important to create that view.
Do you have a clearer view of the terrace? It's really hard to...
Clear view of this terrace here?
Yeah. It's hard to tell how it actually looks when you're close to it.
Maybe, let's see. Here, right here, you see the terrace, you see part of that terrace over here? Right here.
Yeah, the idea would be a low wall that you could still see over It'd give some divide in privacy, but it'd be accessible from the street. You could walk into the terrace, you could walk out of the terrace.
Is that intended for guests of the hotel and people who are frequenting like the deli or the bakery cafe, or is it
Yep.
open really to more of the public?
It's wide open to the public. Hotels are naturally open to the public. Anybody can walk in and rent a room or buy something to eat anytime. So you could come in and use the plaza or the patio rather, as a guest or not.
Hotels open 24/7. They never close.
I try to understand in terms of the height of the building, and like I understand there is gap and there is like on top of the gap is the apartments, and then there's Bay Street, and then there are condominiums across from it. So in relationship to their apartments and condo, how are you higher than them, or are you at the same level or lower?
Good question. I think, Gina,
We are at 68 feet to the top of the roof. I don't know what the height is.
Yeah, let's go to
Does
that.
that need a variance, or is that within?
No, it's within the height limit. Yeah, we've designed within the zoning requirements for here. It is within that. Let me see if I can get a picture again, put it in relation.
Do you know
I think that is,
That's-
it's pretty close. This is probably,
Too, it's about
15,
the
30.
same,
This
that
is-
might be a
this
tick
may be a little
higher.
higher. This could be.
I think we're a tick lower, because the floor to floor for a hotel is usually lower.
Yeah.
So,
We're 10 feet floor to floor.
10 feet floor to
On
floor.
the upper floor, 18 feet, 17, 18 feet on the ground floor, because we're driving underneath.
This is 4 over
Back
2,
down
and these
again.
first two will be higher, so this is probably 8 feet higher maybe.
Actually, it's 4/3,
403.
because there's a retail level, and there's 2 levels of parking.
Oh, so it's probably.
Retail parking.
Retail, 2-level parking, and then a
14
park.
feet higher.
I want to say that's 80 feet.
80 feet
Yeah.
to the roof.
I think so.
Thank you.
So it's lower.
Does that sound about right,
The
Jim?
hotel is
Yeah,
low.
but-
Yeah, we'll step down to the hotel.
By probably a floor's worth.
Okay.
Yeah, just a little more background, when Madison Marquette developed the Bay Street Mall, they had a master plan that included the hotel component, and this has been cited for this hotel for many, many years, and there's a development agreement in place and all kinds of criteria, so when, now that it's finally ready to build, in terms of the market is ready for a new hotel, we've completely conformed with all of the development agreement. We're not asking for any changes or variances. Our objective is to come up with the best possible design that matches what's already been, agreed to with the city and trying to address, so we're sticking with it.
Following that up a second, since I came a little late, where are we in, since Charlie and Nora, where are we in, is this a presentation of a done deal? Or is this up for the planning?
It's up for design approval. So our objective is, from an entitlement process, it's fully entitled. We're conforming with all the entitlements. The Planning Commission is charged with a site plan and design approval as part of that process. And it's important to us. It's important to us for 2 reasons. One, to get in front of the community, to show them what we're doing, because the Planning Commission and we want to hear the input, and we want, obviously, to bring a project that people are going to want and like. But it's also to talk about and get the word out that we're delivering what we think is going to be the best hotel in Emeryville. And part of this is just PR, right? I mean, part of this for us is about getting the word out and getting some excitement. This is going to help the mall. It's going to help the economy. It's a good thing. From a pure entitlement point of view, this is a design approval that we're going through, a site plan approval.
Go ahead, I have a question, Joe. He had it first.
I won't hold us, so, but first, I'm a little bit concerned about, I actually emailed you before Conrad about this, but the uses of the other property, one in front of the hotel, and on the side, I know that you had mentioned that it's all kind of still in flux at this point. But, I mean, how is this going to be in context with what's going in? Is Madison Marquette, have they said anything about what they want to do?
Where are you referencing? Sorry.
Like, these are developed by others and proposed
This area.
residential project. However, you also mentioned that there is an easement that could continue all the way to Powell. So it sounds like we don't know how this is gonna look in.
Well, two components, so this is controlled by Madison Marquette, right?
Yeah.
Presumably, this is an extension of Bay Street retail, so whether it's restaurant or retail, the intention of this is to essentially complete this development with the hotel as a bookend, and again, whether this is restaurant or retail, that's clearly retail. From here to the bridge is land owned by the city, and it's up to the city to decide. Ultimately, presumably they'll sell it, and I don't know whether it becomes residential or retail, or we have no say or control over that. That's a city property.
So it could just end up being left open, or you guys could get buried behind another building.
There could be, what we've tried to do preemptively as best we could was design a building that would allow whatever needs to be built there to be built. We are not on this property line on purpose, trying to stay back from the railroad. We put our thinnest edge along that building. We've represented a mass because we don't know what it could be. It could be multifamily, it could be commercial, who knows? So I think it's supposed to go to RFP next year sometime. So we have simply tried to design our building away from that site and allow it to do whatever. We're representing the easement that goes through. We work great with the easement, whether it's a circle or a square or a roundabout or a straight through. It works for us. We can just tie in.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about our orientation, obviously we want to, our two main facades are here because we want to address the retail. And we don't have a big food and beverage operation because there's food and beverage in the retail, and we're trying to be simpatico, right? And our parking works obviously well. We're obviously trying to stay away from the railroad tracks or a source of noise and some nuisance to guests. And again, by keeping this facade as small as possible, we're allowing the maximum flexibility, whether that becomes retail or residential. So if you think about those respective challenges, I think Gene's done, a great job trying to solve for that jigsaw.
Now, because the property is set all the way back, are there plans for large signs or anything along Shell Mound?
Along Shell Mound. So we have signs represented here. This is we'll have a sign facing Shell Mound, sign facing Christie. We have low signage here to grab you. We didn't show it, but we probably want to put a sign facing over the railroad tracks, pick up Powell coming west. But that would be our sign package. We won't have any rooftop, big long, huge signs like that. But yeah.
So this was, before, I think, was Madison Marquette going to develop the hotel themselves, or a hotel, not just one, obviously? Maybe you don't know, but.
I don't know. They put it on the market and we bought it.
So
So they might have planned to, but
No,
ultimately.
we were
they
always,
still-
since was young, Madison Marquette, the intention was to find a qualified hotel developer to build a hotel.
Okay.
It took them 15 years to find a good hotel.
So you sold the property to them, it's not like a lease? or
It will
something.
be.
It will be sold, okay. Got it.
Well, I've been a tenant of Wareham's for 13 and a half years. I work in Wareham Station, across the Amtrak station, and I've been bought one of their biggest condo, or the best view condo at the terraces from Jeff and Rich. So clearly they charged me up the wazoo for the view they gave me. And they are very sleekly taking that view away from me. And since my unit is one of the ones that really determine the value of the 101 units that I live at the terraces, I'm kind of representing my community. Because if value of mine come down, it trickles down to everybody else. And we are very concerned as how the facade, I can see it's a hotel, it's a very cookie cutter, it's nothing, I'm sorry to say that, but the facade doesn't look very impressive to me. It's another concrete land added to more concrete land on the Bay Street. And I just would like to know some sort of image studies as like how is it going to affect the rest of us that are in such a close proximity to Bay Street. And clearly, for what we have paid for, we want our investment, because we were here before, long before you guys came. So we want, here's another terraces person. We want our investment to still go up and up and up, rather than be affected by buildings like this. And quite honestly, I'm waking up and I'm looking at this, and I have to say, It's just another flat surface building. And I mean, I understand this is business, things needs to be done, but I'm here as a community person that has been here for 30.5 years, working, and 10 years living in this community, to tell you that I would like you to work with our community to make something more pleasant, more agreeable. Just a couple of patios and a couple of palm trees. I'm sorry, I'm not impressed by it. And you know, the facade, especially on this view, this is going to be my view. And rather than looking at the water, I'm going to be looking at this. So I just would like your architectural committee to work with us to come up with something that is more pleasant, more agreeable, and like, you know, looking at rooftops that are blank and buildings that are more blank and just, you know, more concrete, more flat surface is not something we want in the community.
Yeah, I think, I mean, from an objective, we clearly are on the same page, which is our intention is not to have a, you know, ugly concrete building, and certainly, you know, there's some great buildings in Emeryville, and it's obviously subjective, and there's some mediocre buildings.
Absolutely.
And when we look at, and I think the hotels are challenged that are existing, and they've been, you know, I think one of the things we want to do, and our objective is to do a much better job, and, you know, we teamed with Wareham, I think they've done a fantastic job, you know, on design. So, you know, our intention is to do something that is impressive and, you know, that complements the mall, complements Emeryville, and is an upgrade from the existing hotel. We think we've done that, but we, you know, obviously want.
I'm sorry to say, like I said, I've been tenants with them for 13.5 years and bought one of the units for 10 years. And that's why I feel like they have done much better jobs in other areas. And it was kind of promised to us how Bay Street is going to look like and how it turned out. It was it's a very big disappointment to a lot of us in Emeryville. And so we have that piece of land that we like treasure it so much. And quite honestly, I want to see Central Walk with Eiffel Tower in there. You know what I mean? It's something that impressive to attract that many people. Something like this, yes, I understand the job, the tax, all the benefit that brings to Emeryville. I greatly appreciate it. But it would be nicer if it's more impressive.
Following that up in a sense, is part of my question. To what extent are you bound by Hyatt's sustainability initiatives? Are you gonna, is this gonna be a LEED X, a LEED Platinum, a LEED Gold? We also have city requirements, I think.
Sure, right, yeah, there's.
What about landscaping? And also I'm thinking about this roof.
Yes.
Thinking about a green roof or something that would address her needs, but also the sustainability issues. Are these part of your requirements or ideas or thoughts?
Well, we always try to design as environmentally, you know, responsible as we can and sustainable. We are going to adhere to the state standards, the city standards, and the Hyatt standards. This property specifically is not seeking a LEED certification by name, but by code, it's basically there with California
We
code.
don't have that requirement in the city?
We're not, buildings are not required to get a LEED certification per se, but my understanding is that if you comply with the California Green Building Code, which is a requirement, that you're basically at LEED Silver.
Well, and Hyatt is pretty much on the edge, leading edge as well, and we will be complying with that as well. So by the time we fulfill the Hyatt requirements and the California State and the Emeryville requirements, this is going to be, you know, light years ahead of where a hotel 10 years ago would have been.
Yeah.
To your question.
But anyway, I'm just giving you that as a suggestion, to look at the roof, either from solar or from a garden.
This is a new project.
You know, one sustainable factor that we are proud of is the shared parking. We're not building parking. Our asphalt footprint is very small. For 170 rooms, we have a very small actual new parking area. We're using Madison's shared parking up in the structure, which cuts down on a ton of extra construction.
Oh, that's crossing that.
Yeah, this is up right here. So this is up here, and this red line just shows you're walking back from the parking.
Well, anyway, those are suggestions.
No, that's good. Something to think about.
I want to get back to the design side of this really quick. I live in the condos on towards the end, towards the sun flare.
So those are over here?
No, up towards the top.
Oh, up here?
Yeah, I'm up in that area.
Okay.
So if I stand outside my balcony and look down, I'm going to be facing a vertical red wall and a glass tower. And if you are a pedestrian that's coming down Bay Street on the Gap side, walking towards a hotel, you're also going to see that. Because that corner overlaps, it kind of juts out a little bit and faces that sidewalk. And I just think there's, from a design standpoint, there could be more that can be done with that. I looked at the Hyatt Place building. It looks like a standard Hyatt Place building that I see in every other city, except in the first floor. I mean, I see that you guys have taken some effort too, for the patio, and that, appreciative of that. But I think there's more that could be done, especially on that corner, to get pedestrians engaged, especially if we still don't know what the plans are for that side of the street. I mean, it seems almost like you're almost blocking this visual path.
Here?
Here, actually, let me.
Well, we align,
Right here, so it wouldn't be on, it's kind of there's red,
yeah, just look at this.
this red corner right here is what I'm talking about, because you're looking down Bay Street, and all you see is this.
Look at the second floor plan. I think that right corner will actually be set back enough, you'll see the glass. I don't know if you'll see that red wall. That red wall though, just in architectural, that is planned to be a stone wall. It won't just, it'll have some feature to it. But I see what right here, I think is that wall. We try to get a nice line of sight. When you're looking down the street, you get the glass and you see the stacking, and at night it lights up. And then the patio hopefully is energized at night with fire pits and everything going on out here. I understand, the lines of sight, they're important to us too. We want to make sure we come with it. But I do think that red wall will be back farther. It won't just be a big blink looking up. I think that'll.
We'll have glass on the ground floor
Yeah.
too, to see through.
If that crosswalk is where the bulb that is on the Gap side, that is what we're looking at.
Right, so that, and
That's-
it would be this side of the crosswalk. You'll see it from here, certainly, but looking down the street, I think it's gonna be more of the courtyard and the glass.
Essentially, it's mostly glass, including the indoor pool.
And one thing that we've tried to do is put accents in the building that give it nice touches, but from a design standpoint, we like to also focus a lot of our texture and material on the ground floor, so that you can actually experience it. When you're walking up around, this is gonna be metal of some sort or a wood product. You're gonna have stone and/or brick on the ground floor, some glass and metal panels also coming down. Focusing that so your pedestrian experience walking up to it has got a lot of texture and richness to it. As you go up the building, it takes on more of a tower component. This is a design piece by Hyatt, it's required, it's called the edge or wedge. And the
But
rest
there
of
is
it's all
no,
glass.
I mean, the comment about the Hyatt Places have a variety of exterior architecture. The interior in the rooms is a very standardized product. The exterior really does adapt because it depends on if it's a high-rise or low-rise, urban, suburban. There's a tremendous variety. The wedge is kind of the identifying element, but we've actually taken this, well beyond the Hyatt standard for the exterior. Trying to be mindful that we're part of the mall, so we're trying to address, some of what's happening architecturally there and not make it look like it's alien to the mall, but we're also trying to not make it be, we want it to be an identified newer piece. It's the hotel, it's not the apartments, and it's not the retail. So, Hyatt's very pleased with where we've gone. We've actually taken it well above their standards for what the exterior needs to be.
There's some nice architecture in Emeryville, as I'm sure you're all aware, and Gene and I have done a drive already looking at that. We're gonna have.
Do you have some of the images of the mall?
And my shots, my pictures, and my presentation, my PowerPoint, there's a few.
If that's glass in that corner, that's gonna be visible into the meeting room or
Yeah.
the
Ground floor.
Yeah, this would be kind of a glowing, at night, that'll probably be a glowing, little cube down here, that's into the meeting room. You don't have guest room stack.
I wonder if there's an opportunity there for you guys to engage with the arts community, the vibrant arts community here in Emeryville to maybe put a piece there, put something there, rotating piece that could be seen.
Outside, you mean outside?
Maybe behind the glass would be visible to those who are driving and walking by.
Okay.
It's an interesting idea, I like that. We're absolutely gonna have public art in the project.
We actually did, at the project that just opened tonight in the Navy Yard in Philadelphia, along the main street that it's on, we actually have a long gallery, and it's gonna all be rotating art, all local artists on a rotating basis. And it sits back, say 10 feet from the glass line, the wall, so it's lit at night, and you can see straight through to it as you walk along that facade. And, you know.
Yeah, that's a great
We
idea.
love that.
It certainly seems to cry for the public art piece, and maybe it is something behind the glass or even running up the glass, so who knows?
Exterior and interior.
Yeah, it could be both.
Or even this, Conrad, this piece could be a sculpture element too.
They could turn into a
That
sculptural
could be on-
piece. Right.
if you want to. So there's, what kind of limit on the size of the lot? Very, really tight.
But that corner at the ground floor is extremely important because it is where you engage, where you, either you're coming from the mall and you're going to the hotel, or you're walking from the parking, or you're exiting the hotel and going to the mall. So that is how you arrive, and, you know, from an exterior point of view as a pedestrian, it is very important, which is why we're trying to get some outdoor seating there. But I think we could do more there, and I would agree with that.
So for the pedestrian experience, can you tell us about the sidewalk widths? Because that's one of the things that we
Yeah. You want
often
to-
have a problem with, being
Sure.
too narrow.
Sure.
Landscape plan?
Zoom up.
On the landscape plan?
I don't think it shows much more than your
Yeah.
other plan, it's fine. But yeah. We would plan to match whatever that's over here. Is it 6-foot sidewalks here? Is that the typical? Right now, there's nothing. We'll be building one. Yeah, we're gonna build a sidewalk running down Christie.
So matching the other side of the street.
No, not matching this width, this width right here.
There's no sidewalk.
Right now there isn't, but it would be a traditional sidewalk. We won't be setting back 15 feet like this. We'll probably be in the 6 to 8 foot range. So a traditional sidewalk.
So my recommendation for that is to be really cautious about your tree planting and make it a usable sidewalk, because I think that's one of the challenges of Bay Street right now is the sidewalks weren't very well designed, and there's a lot of constrictions, and
Sure.
it really doesn't work very well for pedestrians.
Okay.
Um, Any opportunities that we have to improve that situation, I think would be welcomed.
Okay. Keep that, yeah, absolutely, this run.
Will you have any green areas, like landscaping on the ground floor that would be open to the public?
Yeah, this is a very early concept landscape plan, and I know it's hard to read from any sort of distance, but being an acre site, it's pretty tight already. We are gonna have, anywhere we can, we'll be putting landscaping. We'll have landscape at the front in the area we own here, all around the building as a perimeter, another big node down here. All of that is exterior landscaping, and anybody can walk up to it, enjoy it. It'll have a variety of trees and plantings.
How will you prevent everybody else from parking in this lot instead of
That's a
the
good
hotel?
question. Yeah, we're gonna have signage. Right now, we're not planning to control the lot. That's just right now, we haven't designed that in because we have controls here for 2/3 of our parking, over 2/3. You know, we will have a system where you'll get a key card, you'll get a sticker or something to know that you're supposed to park here. Heavy signage, you know, hotel parking. But more than that, I don't see much more than that.
I mean, you essentially drive under the hotel to go to it either way, so it's very
Well,
identified
people will
as being
seek
a
out
hotel.
a good parking space.
And it'll be
They
marked,
probably
and,
will.
you know, we'll have, you know, we'll try and passively control it,
Yeah.
right?
John, when you do that, they'll tow you, so.
They walk across the street, they walk over?
Yeah, really?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't want to get.
Especially since the rates have gone up
Right.
as much as well.
Yeah.
Has anybody done a back study on the traffic? Because right now, at least in my building with my, she's my doctor too, and the new buildings coming up, Emeryville is becoming a nightmare to walk. The traffic is ridiculous.
Sure.
And when there's like the last holiday, the parking situation and the traffic jams that were incurred here was a nightmare. So, I mean, great that you guys want to build this building and, you know, bring people in because of the bridge or whatever, but you might be losing residential tax dollars because people are starting to move out, they can't take it anymore.
Sure.
It's like,
No, it drives me crazy too, I understand.
Yeah, but
Look at
the
that-
good news is the hotel is less impactive because it
Yeah.
runs, in some ways so it doesn't use, you know, the parking at the same times that the mall uses the parking. And a lot of the guests, you know, arrive by public transportation or by cab. So, I mean, it's in some ways, it's a lot better. You know, when you have a residential, everyone tends to come and go at the exact same time, so there's heavy loads at, you know, peak hours, and the hotel doesn't work that way, which is good. And the traffic, you know, obviously all studied as part of the master plans and approvals and stuff. But traffic's a problem in, you know, in every urban environment. I mean, Emeryville does have some very good public transportation options.
But it,
All of a
Emeryville
sudden,
is
it's just-
small, yeah, it is
Something
small, and
happening
it
on
is,
6 or less.
yeah, it is like exploding. And that building, you know, it's one of the many, I'm not, again, with the whole flat roof and, I don't know.
Just a couple more points on your traffic. Yeah, with the master plan and the EIR, it was studied up to 250 guest rooms and approved. So it was entitled for that many guest rooms. We're only building 170, so we're building underneath that envelope itself. This building is about 100,000 square feet. If it was a commercial building, it'd require 400 parking spaces. We're only going to provide 142. So the demand is incredibly less for a hotel. It's also off hours, so most of these people are arriving in the evening, leaving in, you know, or sorry, going the other way, so that you're not necessarily interacting with them as they come out here. And we are doing a, what do we call it, a circulation operational study. So,
Good luck
Yeah.
with that when you try to get on
To
to
look this.
580.
yeah, I was
Because
on
it
the
starts,
580
yeah,
today.
it starts at like
I think
8
that's a
to.
bigger problem than this one intersection, but yes, I hear you. I hear you. And then on the design, I think we're hearing a lot of good comments today, and Gene and I will take those.
Thank you very much for that.
Consider.
Yeah, that's
Especially on this corner.
Yeah, no,
It's
it's-
horrific.
We
Sorry
want
to say
we
that.
hear you.
Yeah, I
Yep,
agree.
yeah, okay, gotcha.
Thank you.
Just want to talk about the traffic situation as well. That short between, on Christie between Shellmount and Bay right now, that's a major artery into the parking garage. Right now, you know, you've got how many lanes of traffic coming off of, coming into the shopping area? And it seems like there isn't a turnout for the hotel, a left turn lane into the hotel. It seems like it's just gonna be, the potential for confused visitors to kind of just stop in the middle intersection and back up traffic back onto Shellmount, further beyond that. So I wonder, are there gonna be improvements to that roadway?
That's I don't know, but that's something we're studying right now with planning, is that exact question. It's not so much a traffic impact as just let's make sure we get circulation patterns right in and out of this piece. Does that mean we have a dash line for a left field or something? Not sure right now how that works.
Yeah, obviously you can see what we, again, on a very tight site, what we've created is a circulation path, right? That goes this way, so as not to just make it in and out, right? Which, you know, presumably will help. That, we're gonna study that a little more specifically.
Right.
Is there more than one way to, maybe the variable there is put more than one
Yeah,
enter?
There's two ins and outs to the hotel, one up here on the Bay Street extension and one down here on Christie.
Right, so if they miss it, they don't.
Exactly.
Right.
And we're
You
gonna
don't have
encourage
back
our-
up and
Right.
stop, so you can circulate back, and you can even enter the hotel
Yeah.
from two directions.
And we're gonna encourage guests, as they check in, come around.
Right.
And not circle and get back out.
Get back
Just
out on
come
Bay.
around, look for parking, if you don't see it,
Right.
then just shoot into the parking structure. That's our pattern.
So relieve that where Bay Street and Christie intersect. So that's part of the idea of
Okay.
trying to create that path of travel. So that was considered. But it's a good point.
And just sort of back real quick to that corner, the corner I was mentioning earlier that's facing Bay Street right now. I think the issue that I'm having with it is just, it's kind of this weird shoulder that kind of gets you to, it pushes folks away, whereas if there was a more rounded corner, or maybe it's set back a little bit, it would be a little bit more inviting from a pedestrian standpoint. I see how it works if you're coming up Christie, but if you're coming down Bay Street, it just doesn't work.
We should look at that in the model, put that so we can look right down Bay and see how that looks. We'll study that.
One last question, financially, isn't a hotel one of the better bangs for the buck in the sense of tax versus density and et cetera? Maybe you can speak to that as
Yeah,
a
for
general
sure.
idea.
Yeah, hotel is like the gold standard. I mean, in terms of cost of city services versus revenue to the city, hotel is probably the highest return. Because mainly because of the transient occupancy tax that they were talking about. So,
Now, one of the things with the 4 Points is they do encourage a lot of the tour bus clientele, the folks coming overnight on those tour buses out of the city. Is there a place to park tour buses? Is that the type of business that,
Not really. I mean,
what are you gonna do with that?
we're not operators, so we're hiring an operating company that will certainly solve that problem. This thing's gonna be about 13, 14 feet tall. If it can fit under there, great.
We're gonna be at a higher price point.
Yeah,
than
it's
4
true.
Points. We're gonna, our primary market is what we call the independent business travel MT. With, we hope to capture, leisure as well. There are people who want to stay in Emeryville, and this is gonna be an attractive, Hyatt Place has turned out to be a very attractive option for, leisure travel, if you're not looking for, full service or resort experience or something like that. That's how we're gonna be positioned a notch above. The occupancies are good. I mean, the reason that we can justify building a hotel right now is the occupancies, since the recession have recovered. The rate is not that strong, right? In Emeryville, this is not a $300 a night hotel, it never will be. But we do think there's room to move up a notch, and we're trying to position with something a little better. But the market will not support a super high-end, hotel. But we think we're delivering something that's better than what's there. And the 4 Points is definitely below, and that's why they get the tour buses lower end market.
So this is more of a curiosity question, is like, what determined the height of the building instead of going twice as tall and twice as many rooms?
Good question.
It's a really good question. So the site is a given, right? So we're working with the site and the shape and size. We're dealing with parking, we're dealing with what's entitled and what's allowed, and we're dealing with what works in the operating model for Hyatt. And then we're trying to figure out, from an economic model, where does the construction cost and the rate that we think we can get, where's the sweet spot for all of that? So you have all these variables. This is the art of development, right? And, we're at a height where the sort of cost efficiencies compared to the operating model for Hyatt, we're just in that sweet spot. Could you push it one more floor and do X number of more rooms? Yeah, probably. But, we're at a fairly efficient, building to build, and 169 rooms is a good size for this type of product. It's a good hotel to operate reasonably efficiency. It's a small site, it's an acre, right? So, and, with the amount of on-site parking we can get and the amount of shared parking that works efficiently with the retail, beyond that, we're really starting to push that.
So what's the relationship with the Hyatt House? Is this a symbiotic relationship? Are you guys competitors, or?
It's mostly symbiotic because that's an extended stay product. There's some level of competition. So that product is managed, by Hyatt. We will get some overflow back and forth, and we will lose some customers to them. But it's a pretty different product. It's a pretty different product.
They're just like every other hotel in town. It's just a competitor.
No, they're different. They're different because they're the only extended stay product. They're the only one that is geared towards that extended stay market with the kitchens. And that's how they market it, and that's their identity.
And they're gonna be renovating that?
I hope
They're doing
so.
it now.
Yeah. They are, yeah, they're gonna be, I think,
Yeah, it
starting
needs it
pretty
badly,
soon.
Yeah.
the inside.
Which we're excited about. I mean,
Yeah, we
wanna
want
see
it
them renovate. We wanna see the
nicer.
the class of hotels in Emeryville as a whole elevate up.
Elevate it up.
The courtyard does the rooms pretty soon. The public space is great. But, we want the whole Ocean to rise.
But we will definitely compete with them. We will compete more head-to-head with the Courtyard and the Hilton Garden Inn. It's going to be our primary competition. And to some extent, the Hyatt House, less so.
Again, as a resident on that end, my primary concern is noise, construction timeline. Where do we go from here on this one? will I be displaced because it's gonna be so noisy for a long time, you know, that kind of thing.
Sure.
And also, from a Madison Marquette question probably for Cedric out there, but is Overton Security gonna be the one policing that side of this property as well, or do you guys have like the outdoor
Once
patio?
we open, you mean?
Right, on the outside, because you're saying that patio is open to everybody, I could see how it
Yeah.
could eventually attract some
Yeah,
elements.
it may, you know, we don't generally hire outside security in our hotel, especially this small of a hotel. The staff, and we may work with Madison to have overlap on, you know, security guards stop by here, I'm not sure, we're not to that point yet. But
Construction
on the
timeline
construction,
is,
probably about 13 months.
Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be, this hotel is gonna be stick frame construction, so you're not gonna have heavy
Over
steel
concrete.
over a concrete podium. There'll be one floor of concrete podium on a foundation, 5 levels of stick, either wood or
no
metal.
subterranean.
Yeah, no digging.
There's no underground, so then the construction will start right from the ground up.
You probably have a month of driving piles. That would be the loudest thing that goes on. If we even have to go that direction, we're still looking at others. But there's, as construction types go, this type of construction is fairly quiet.
Okay, I mean, are you guys sticking to the 8 to 5, or are you gonna ask for the city for some sort of
It's
variance
usually,
to do overnight?
you know, for loud pieces, we usually do, we'll hold off until 8 or 9 to drive piles likely. Construction jobs are usually 7 to 2 or 6 to 3 in that range, but they're inside at that point, they're not making noise, and if it's a challenge.
I don't think we're gonna ask for any variances off the construction ordinance.
No, whatever the ordinance is in the city.
Yeah, let me clarify that. The noise ordinance, construction hours are 7 AM to 6 PM, Monday through Friday.
Okay.
No weekends, no evenings, and pile driving and other similarly loud noise, which includes like jackhammering and other stuff like that, is 8 AM to 5 PM.
Okay, there you
And
go.
any variation from that requires approval of the city council and a notice public hearing. So everybody within, 300 feet would get a notice about any such request, and the city council would have to approve it.
I mean, the answer is, we wouldn't go in with any intention to do that, and if we did, it would be after we were enclosed for interior to do finished work. I don't have any reason to speculate we wouldn't do it.
And there will be a sign on the site that says who you can call if you have a complaint.
I got Gene's home number.
I got the argument.
Right there.
It has to be answered by a live person, not by an answering machine.
Yeah, all right. It'll probably be me, and that's fine, no problem. Yep. Any other questions? A lot of good questions. Anything else on that? What's that? Oh, there's a sign-in sheet, yeah, if anybody didn't sign in, we'd love it if you could. And I've got a stack of cards that I'm gonna put right on that corner, take my card, please. And feel free to reach out to me. We're on the Planning Commission Design Review for January 23rd.
So that's a study session.
That's a study session.
January 23rd study session, all right, 6:30 PM.
Yep.
Thank y'all for coming.
Yeah, thank you.
And I have parking validations for all those that park.
Teresa, nice to meet you. Okay.